What's going on, y'all? No, I've always wondered why. Um, well, a quick synopsis about me is the way I'm built. Real thin but muscular at the same time. I'm not going to go into specifics about that, but I often wondered why I got, well, not often, but there were a few times I got propositioned to have threesomes with with girls, or twice in particular. And I don't know if I mentioned this. I know I mentioned this because I know who I am. I'm a sexually conservative guy, and I've never been aroused by two women being together. That's just something that never turned me on. It never did. And you know, I kind of equate that to the fact, not so much really a fact, but I think women, I think their natural state is that of bisexuality, not so much straight heterosexuality. Because if I think about, like, depending on your level of education, you may not have read it, but you were assigned to read the Odyssey. Like I'm saying, I was assigned to read it, but I didn't read that shit. I just went to class and listened to what they were saying and wrote whatever I was supposed to write and got a C. That's what I did. But anyway, but I remember in that story, The Odyssey, he ended up on an island where with lesbians. I think it was called Lesbos or something. There was some derivative of lesbian in that in the name, I think, or it was sirens or something. I remember one of those two islands. I remember that, but I remember there being lesbianism in that story, and I think that women over time adapted to being heterosexual just to get their needs met. Because if you think, because the Odyssey goes back to the hunter gatherer days. So back then, two females together weren't going to be able to produce food and crops and stuff like that. They weren't be able to hunt and get meat and stuff. Two women weren't going to be able to do it. So one of the women probably said, "Hey, why don't we why don't you entice one of these men so we can use him for his resources?" That's just what I seem to gather from it. Because the women are into being with each other. They really are. Like, there was an instance where I had already been with the girl, and somehow got talking about it, and she was like, you know, "I've been wanting to do that. We should do that. I got the perfect girl in mind. I just never set it up to make the introduction." And the other time, there was this girl that I met off the chat line, and when I went to her house, I don't want to tell that story. I'm not telling it, but it was just it was one time it was a white girl, and the girl that she wanted me to meet, I never got what her nationality was. I just, because I didn't meet her. And the other time it was a white girl and an Asian girl. That's who it was. And that's probably the women that are going to make themselves available to me. The Phaedras, the Deidras, the Keishas, the Bonquishas. They don't, I don't do it for them. Lucky me. But still, yeah, because of the way I'm built with 30-inch waist, 42-inch shoulders, that kind of creates a masculine feminine dynamic that these lesbian women find attractive. And like I said, I'm too conservative to where me personally, fellas, maybe you should adapt this too. I personally could never deal with two female minds at the same time. So that's why, you know, I couldn't be dealing with two women at the same time. Plus, I don't have two penises, and I'm also very conservative, and it would involve me doing shit that I just ain't gonna do. But the moral of the story is, I believe that a woman's natural state is that of bisexuality, and she only adapted to being heterosexual because she wanted her needs met by men. You know, the needs that couldn't be met by a woman, not even the sexual needs, because we all know, we should know, that a woman would rather get pleased sexually by a woman than any one of us. That's why they have toys. That's why I don't fool with them.